Àwọn àṣírí ńlá rèé ò tẹ́ ò gbọ́ rí nípa Naira Marley. Did you know Naira Marley was arrested 124 times? Did you know he also had a hand in Fabian Blue's madness? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé ó lọ́wọ́ nínú bí Fabian Blue ṣe ya wèrè? This and more you will find in this special episode of The Untold Truth about Naira Marley, alleged to be Mohbad's killer. Welcome to Digi Naija, where we bring you the latest stories. Remember to like, share and follow us. Born into a middle-class Muslim family in Lagos in May 1991, Aziz Fashola knew he wasn't cut out for an average living even as a child and wished he could leave Nigeria. Maybe there would be a better life waiting for him at the other side. It wasn't long, his wish was granted when his parents decided to tell him that he would be relocating to the UK. So he was excited he couldn't hide his news from his peers about traveling out. I would do the same if I was in his shoes, especially with how hard it is to live in Nigeria at 11 years old. All he needed to leave was ready, and it was time to say goodbye to his friends, family, and also life in the trenches. Being a young boy, he was ignorant of the fact that where he was going to would be worse than where he lived in Nigeria, contributing to the foundational reasons he became known as one of the most notorious drug lords. After a long flight, he finally arrived in London and was on his way to his new neighborhood, one of the worst areas in London, known for its violence. High violence, crime rate, gangs, killings, and lack of safety in South London. On their way to the city, he noticed the city was so cold with people minding their businesses. He also noticed small groups always gathered in different places smoking and doing drugs. But at that time, it didn't make sense to him being a kid. At last, he was home and couldn't wait to start school so he could mingle and make new friends. He was on his way to school when he saw again a small group. By this time, they were not just smoking but had a victim, who one of them stabbed to death and allowed the rest to do away with his lifeless body. Okay, this was more than he bargained for. This was his thought, where he was hiding so he doesn't become the next victim going back home. He explained what he saw to his guardians and they warned him not to tell anyone else or his life would be in danger. The father explained to him how Peckham was not an ordinary city and he would have to be more careful and also make sure he minded his business. Still reminiscing, the information fed to him by his guardian on how Peckham is run by gangsters and cartels. He mistakenly ran into some young lads who had brothers who were also gangsters and they became friends with Aziz. His new friends were also his classmates, which made it easier for them to introduce him into drugs and running errands for the drug lords at the same time, so he could be protected and not bullied by other gangs who saw every JJC as a threat. The father explained to him that here in Peckham, you build your reputation by being caught with drugs than without it. In more words, they explained that everyone in Peckham, including kids, have broken the law and gone to jail in their lifetime growing up now. He wanted more than just being or seen as an errand boy, so he spoke to his friends, who also agreed it was time they worked together and created their own crew. Finally, they created a crew they called No Manners Gang, which were feared and known to be very notorious and the most violent gang known for drug trafficking. But wait, am I the only one who has heard the name No Manners somewhere before, aside being a crew name? Marley wanted to build a fan base of drug peddlers in 2015. Their crew was growing, getting new members and also getting successful with the drug business. He decided it was time he pursued his dream of wanting to be an MC, or his friends would rather became an artist, which he didn't imagine himself becoming. After so much convincing from his friends in the studio, he made his first hit song, Back to Work, where he spoke about drugs and how he and his team wouldn't forgive whoever double-crossed them. To his surprise, the song started making hits than he had imagined and began to take music more seriously, beginning from changing his name from Aziz Fashola to Naira Marley and still not forgetting his drug business. He had built the reputation of being arrested 124 times for rape and theft and drugs. In 2017, he was convinced it was time to leave London after making his first big money from drug peddling and declared wanted by the law enforcement while making sure his tracks were covered so he would be granted visa. He came back first with the disguise of him shooting a music video for the Sago single made for during the 2017 World Cup. Getting more fame after the release of the song, he decided to stay longer and release more hits like Okpotoi, where he established his Malian family, with more of his song becoming an anthem and gaining more prominence like Soapy. It wasn't long until Naira Marley broke the law and found himself in jail again with the EFCC controversy after he released the controversial single Am I a Yahoo Boy. He was investigated and charged with 11 counts of fraud and a stolen car, where he was released from jail 14 days after being granted bail. Not long after he was released, another person testified against him, leading to adjournment of his case. While everyone thought he would be calm and tread carefully since he had a case in court, he broke the law of lockdown of the president. What do you expect? In 2019, he started the Malian music. He signed artists like mohbad and others to introduce them to selling of drug, which Mohbad refused. But to make sure his secret was saved and buried with the label, he asked them to swear an oath, and Mohbad refused. Meanwhile, aside trusting the boys to expand his business, he also started reaching out to more influential politicians, colleagues in the music industry, organization, and drug business owners in the country. Could our president be one of these politicians he's working with? Because Mr. Tinubu has been accused in the past of being a big-time drug lord, which was confirmed by Naira Marley. And looking closely now, it was just after the inauguration of President Tinubu, Naira Marley became an ambassador of the NDLEA. Looks like Sam Larry was also his associate in making sure his drug business here in Nigeria was going smoothly without any interruptions from anyone. Ilerioluwa Aloba, publicly known as Mohbad Imole, was becoming an interruption to his business, and with the responsibility given to Sam Larry, he knew what he had to do, which was making sure Mohbad didn't become a burden anymore. Okay, let's go back to how it all started in favor of those that have not been following the story. Ilerioluwa Aloba, a well-known rapper, singer, and songwriter from Ikorodu, who started a freestyle, caught the attention of Naira Marley, the drug lord, who saw potential in him not becoming just a signed artist, but also a good source to expand his drug business. With this motive, he offered a deal to Mohbad of just being signed as an artist to his record label. Mohbad, who was also a Malian fan, saw this as an opportunity to be with his idol and also became one of the greatest artists ever heard. To add, he also needed to get his family and himself out of poverty and decided to sign the deal with the record label. But unfortunately for him, he had signed more than being an artist without his knowledge. This is the reason why rushing into anything never brings good results. And I think upcoming artists should follow the advice of ID Kabasa in getting a lawyer before a manager to avoid situations like that of Mohbad repeating itself. Moving on, Mohbad got arrested by the NDLEA while he was still in the label, added with the fact that he was already being ill-treated by the record label because he refused to take the oath of secrecy. He decided to walk out of the label. This became a problem as he was constantly assaulted and bullied by Sam Larry and others. According to Belashmoda, who was his best friend, he testified that his friend Mohbad also committed suicide once and is currently an hypertensive patient because of his issues with the record label. But this did not stop Naira, who wanted to make a point to both his signed artists and outsiders on what happens to those who challenges him. It was a show of his power and control to whoever was interested. After so many assholes bullying and trying to kill his career, they finally were able to get rid of Mohbad on the 12th of September. What a sad story. Little wonder why ID Kabasa also said after the passing of Mohbad that wrong money entered into the music industry and is the reason why the industry is suffering. Could Naira be one of those he's talking about? Though Mohbad wasn't his only victim. There was Fabian Blue, a 26-year-old gifted young singer who had passion for music and started attending various auditions for a number of musical ventures. He later got into the competition Dare to Dream in 2018, where he won. We hear a competition like that attracted the well-known Aziz Fashola, who as usual offered him an irresistible offer of being one of his signed artists. It was obvious he took the deal when Naira Marley reviewed him as one of his signed artists alongside Mohbad and other artists. The young man was having a great day and was smiling for the cameras going ahead to release the singles Sisi Nene and later Instagram featuring Mohbad and Naira Marley. Now my question is, why would we suddenly never hear of Fabian Blue anymore after 2021? Should we believe the news that he was one of the artists that ran mad after being offered the second deal of being part of his cartel? Because a full-grown human being doesn't just disappear like that, even on social media. If he can mastermind a man's death, what else can he not make happen? I'll let you guys do justice to the question. Drop your answers in the comment section. While we talk about DJ Splash, who was also a victim of madness after he was given an opportunity to work with Naira Marley. At this level, Naira should be awarded the record label with the highest case of madness, assault, harassment, drugs, and maybe death, if he is found guilty for the death of Ilerioluwa Aloba. Or don't you think so? Whatever you think about this, drop your comment. Remember to follow us for more stories. Like, comment, and share. This is Digi Naija. Thanks for watching and bye for now.